is the age of the multi-dimensional self.
Hi there, it's Kelly here from Divine Alchemy Healing, and today we're really pleased and delighted to welcome Rodney back, who's just got a wonderful new book out, the Codex of Pendulum Wisdom. So he's here today to talk all about the book and everything, well, not everything that's in it, because we'd be here for hours, wouldn't we?
We would. It's quite a big book.
Yeah,
Over 400 pages.
yeah. We'll condense it into some of the interesting parts in it. And I'll just say I've started reading it. I'm only a little way in because I like to take it all on and absorb it. But so far, I've found it absolutely fascinating and completely unique in terms of pendulum books. So, Rodney, what inspired this book in the first place?
Right. That's the leading question, because I'd never thought of that I was ever going to write a book. And literally the idea landed into my head somewhere along the line, that I built up such a background, so many years of working with metaphysical techniques, including pendulum work, that that was just sat there. It was just building up. I'd got files, I'd got notebooks piled high. But the spark, I think, that led me to start writing was actually looking at some of the replies or the posts in my Facebook group, Pendulum Dowsing and Energy Balancing. And I noticed that quite a few people were enthusiastically getting into the swing, if you'll forgive the pun, of pendulum work. And they would say something like, "I've got this great pendulum." They might have bought one like an Isis or something that people are familiar with, and they say, "Well, they build up a bit of a collection. Well, what is this pendulum for? What is this pendulum for, as opposed to that one? What?" And this was coming up a little bit, and I thought, uh, there's been a lot of talk about the pendulum's energy and its vibrational qualities. Um, and I think anybody who's something that helped me as well was reading some of Ibrahim Karim's work on biogeometry. Very interesting work on the power of form, the energy of form. And I thought, well, applying that to pendulums in such a way that people will understand the energy of the pendulum, they'll be able to read the pendulum, read the symbolism in the pendulum. And then they really won't need to ask that question, because if you get this book, you'll know precisely what your pendulum's saying to you, how to read the energy. And once you can do that, you'll know exactly, the kind of things that it resonates with. So, whilst it's true that, for example, with pendulum manifestation, you need a high vibrational pendulum, and these are pendulums that some work and thought has gone into. Usually, these are quite, complicated or geometric designs, or there could be quite complex designs that hold symbolism. And that's true. And of course, you voice your pendulum decree. We don't need to do a whole thing on it now. People watching that will probably know about dowsing and manifestation. But the actual pendulum itself, there's not a great deal on it. And I didn't want to write just another pendulum book. Just another book about that, or another book about pendulum manifestation. There is a chapter on dowsing in there because I wanted it to be a book that a beginner could pick up
Yeah.
and work through from beginning to end. But it's also a book for those that have used pendulum work for many, many years. That's it. So it enables the reader to understand the symbolism and the energy quality of a particular pendulum.
Yeah. And I mean, as I said, I haven't got far into it, but it's a book that I'm I'm sort of yearning for time to sit down with a cup of tea and really delve into, because even as far as I've got, you know, you've got things like, you've got the beginner's instructions, which is great, as you say, for anyone who's just starting. Very well written and simple to understand. And then, you know, you're going on to things like the numerical codes and how to tune your pendulum the right, you know, use a sigil and tune your pendulum to working in certain ways. And I love that sort of depth of it, because we've all known about Rodney for many years, especially his group. You know, you're a font of all knowledge on this level of work that you don't really see very often. And I feel like having this book is almost like a little bit of access into Rodney's mind that you can just draw on.
Yes, that's nice to hear. Yes, yes. I actually wanted to put into the book everything. So I didn't want to kind of like a short book and then have to write a part two or anything like that. I was determined to get everything from my background, as you've just said quite well there about into the work that I've done, my experiences, my research, and sort of like an amalgam of that. Not leaving anything out. I wanted to get it in there. So if I know this, or I've found this out, it's going to be in this book, so that anybody else that reads that, they now know it. So you're quite right. Anybody that reads this will know. You know, it's like giving you my 35 years of experience in, you know, this sort of thing.
It's a heck of a
The
list.
other thing, sorry, yeah, the other thing that I was just quickly going, because I've had a long background in radionics, and pendulums and radionics go hand in hand in so many ways that I don't think people quite understand just how closely, you know, related they are. So there's a bit of that in there, you know, in terms of uh, the energy of form and how to manipulate it, how to tune to it, how to, yeah, how to harmonize with it. That's what we're doing a lot of the time. We're harmonizing one energy with another energy. We're
Yeah,
bringing two things
yeah, I
together.
was going to say, you've utilized two different forms of energy work and amplified them by putting them together. But I
Yeah,
think there's even more than that in there, isn't there, really?
yeah, absolutely. Because you know, in both radionics and pendulum work, that they both use these identical principles that you've just mentioned. You know, resonance, harmony, polarity, um, the bringing together of different forms of energies and trying to, uh, you know, change them
Yeah,
in a beneficial way. So, and of course, both use pendulums to do this, because both of these techniques utilize the ability to access that unseen information, that information from our subconscious, and to sort of bring that in. And then both techniques utilize the ability to then use that information to broadcast it in different ways, to send it or transmit it for a particular outcome.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like this is sort of a Bible of, of its own, really. I know
Yeah.
people have called their books the Pendulum Bible, but this is really it. And I mean, I think there's so much in it. I mean, and I flicked through it, as well as I'm a person who likes to read things cover to cover.
Mm.
And because I'm partially sighted, that takes a little bit of time these days. But I sit down and I slowly read it, and I feel like I'm almost absorbing frequencies as I'm reading it, because it's one of those books that's just got so much in it energetically, and you can sort of feel your intention as you're reading it, this love that's gone into it and this gift that's coming through it, and that is a thing to be savored, and treasured as you go.
It's interesting that you say that, because that was kind of in the back of my mind as well when I came up with my pen name, Glyphon Ray.
Yeah,
Well, Glyphon is from glyph, because glyph is another name for a sigil, and we talk a lot about sigils. Or let's have a look at a sigil here. Just flick through it randomly, and every pendulum has its own sigil.
yes,
So that is a sigil for a pendulum that I don't have, actually,
right.
but it's called the golden hue pendulum. Very nice pendulum. I like it. Well, the picture of that is
Oh yes,
on there.
yeah,
Okay, and so you're right. I wanted the book itself to have an energy,
yeah,
and I created a little glyph for the book,
yeah,
which is that one. And I finished with that little glyph as well, because it kind of holds the energy of the book. It's at the beginning and at the end.
okay.
And actually, I wanted the book to be a little bit like a radionic transmitter,
Yeah,
with all the glyphs and all the, what's in there will transmit something unseen as well, as the words and the knowledge, because everything does anyway. This is not something that's unique to me. Everything in
of course.
life transmits, doesn't
Yeah,
it? And
it's the intention.
it's the air, and then you form that through the intention.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds a bit mad when I say it, but it is the sort of book that I feel like at night time it would actually be quite good to either have it in your bed if you're not sleeping with someone, because that would be
Yes.
a bit uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
or by your bed to
Yes.
let it radiate out that frequency. Um,
Because
yeah,
when you think about how many pendulums that covers,
yeah,
how many sigils that are in there,
yeah,
power, they're all power sigils, and the book explains in very good detail, I believe, how to utilize them, how to put them to use. That was another motivation, because if I've read a lot of book on metaphysics and the use of sigils in various mystical traditions and practices, and a lot of them are quite complex,
yeah,
you know um, and I felt they were overcomplicated,
right,
that we could simplify this information tuned to a sigil. You don't have to really do. It's true that a sigil, to be effective, requires activating,
yeah,
and the activation instructions for each one are in the book.
yeah,
And there are different ways you can do it, but one of the ways, which we'll all be familiar with, is our good old friend, the pendulum decree.
yeah,
Swinging a pendulum, spinning it in a clockwise way to create the cone of power, which carries the intent of activating the sigils. So each sigil and each pendulum will have its activation decrees. And these act like amplifiers as well. A sigil by itself, yes, it does have some inherent power, but when you activate it, that's when the real action happens. It's like, sorry, I'll just pull these out. It's like, we've got power sockets in our house. It's all that potential energy. They're there. It's powerful, but you've got to plug something in.
not doing much.
Otherwise, they're not doing much, are they? So that's the analogy that I would give with a power sigil, and with anything that's used as a transmitter.
Yeah.
Um, radionic devices are set up so that they continually carry that intention, that the power of that. It's like leaving something switched on to carry out a work, much the same way as one of the little techniques that I cover in here is using the pendulum stand as a little bit like a radionic transmitter. You program your pendulum. You have a witness which is placed below the pendulum.
Yeah.
That can be a photograph of someone or a map or something that represents what it is you want to send that energy to. And then you can leave the setup so that the energy is continually transmitting. And that can be, a powerful tool, for whatever you want to occur. And a lot of the time people are doing balancing of their own or others' biofields to help their body heal. Now, it's true to say that pendulums and pendulum work and radionics, we can't make medical claims. We can't even call them, we can't actually, I don't know whether it's some kind of legal thing that you can't call them healing things, they actually directly, which in one sense is true because you're not acting directly on anything physical.
Yeah.
But what you're acting on is the subtle etheric field.
Yeah.
And that gives the individual a greater chance of healing because it puts them in touch with the correct frequencies for their field. It doesn't guarantee anything, of course. Nothing, like this is guaranteed, but it's one of the reasons why we use the word balancing a lot, because or the other word is harmonizing.
Yeah.
We're balancing, we're harmonizing one field with another field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I noticed where I'm at in the book, which is page 57. Oh no, sorry, not 57, 54. Oh no, it is 57. It's got this sigil. That one.
Oh yeah.
So is that
Yeah.
one's for tuning your pendulum, isn't it? Or how it's telling you in initial stages how to use the sigil. It's like the beginner's guide to using a sigil bit. And you can just, am I right in thinking, because I haven't read the whole of this bit yet, but like you can hang your pendulum over it and let it swing to achieve.
You can, yes. The sigil, the purpose of the sigil is to amplify the transmission of your intention to a witness.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really bringing pendulum work and radionics a bit closer.
Yeah.
There's like a whole language that goes with radionics, and to a lesser extent, a language that goes with pendulum work. But with radionics, you've got rates. If you don't really know about radionics, you think, well, it's all this language. It makes it sound very mysterious. It's actually very simple, and both methods are just ways of tuning to subtle fields. That's it.
And you've included some rates in the book.
And I've included rates in there, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because not only have you put the rates and what they're for, but you've also put the suggested pendulums by the side that I guess are most aligned. But as
Correct.
you can use, if you haven't got these pendulums, you can still use other shapes.
Correct. Because when you think about let's call it the field, right? And the field is so complex. It's master. It's beyond our capacity to understand. With these, I can't even put a number to it, but let's call them frequencies,
Yeah.
just for a way of understanding them. And we're trying to resonate with different frequencies. Now, we're not just talking about one frequency here, like, 10 hertz or an alpha frequency in the brain or something. We're talking about something that is beyond our comprehension, something that contains the code for our reality. And so every pendulum will have a whole mix of those frequencies. So if I take the best way I can describe it is if I take, I haven't got two exactly in front of me, identical pendulums, they've both been made by the same person, say I had another pendulum like this, right? And I held that there. You'd think, oh, well, they're identical. Well, yes, they are for all practical purposes, but they're not identical. This has its own its own set of subtle frequencies, and so does this one, even though they look the same. And so no two are identical. And what I give is an assessment of the primary qualities of a particular pendulum design.
Yeah.
But what I also do is, if you can actually pick up this book and probably utilize the information straight away with what you've got, if you've got any kind of pendulum collection, because I do give the alternative pendulums
Right.
that also have some of those qualities. And so I kind of say, well, if you haven't got that one,
Yeah, try this.
for this sort of work,
Yeah.
then this pendulum has similar qualities, and then I actually explain why that pendulum has those qualities. Why does it? Because of its form, its shape, that is kind of like, it's not an identical fit of the pendulum that I'm talking about, but it has resonant qualities
Yeah.
that fit that particular pendulum. So yeah, it's a great way of being able to understand how to utilize the symbolism within the pendulum's form, the three-dimensional form, for doing this work, primarily for healing work, for manifestation work. I mean, there's a very big section in the book on wealth manifestation, for example.
Which most people are very interested in, aren't they?
Yes, I think it's actually the biggest section.
Yeah.
Again, because it's the thing that people ask most about. We all want more, don't we? We all want to be wealthier. We all want to have nice things,
Yeah.
and the things that we want them around in our life. And yeah, this is not in a sort of a grasping way where you want something and you kind of like obsess about it and you want it so it's going to occur.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's more about harmonizing the subtle energies of abundance, prosperity, and wealth, and all those things.
Yeah.
Because once you allow those, you're not forcing a situation.
No.
I mean, I'd like a Rolls Royce. I'd like one. But we've got to be reasonable. It's not about that. It's about bringing the energy of abundance and prosperity into your life.
Yeah.
And that can be in surprising ways, It can be about utilizing what you've got in a better way so that you feel wealthier.
Yeah.
It can be all sorts of, it can be opening new opportunities that make your life fuller. And And along with that fullness comes, by the way, more money in your bank account. And so it's that kind of thing. And it's a big subject. I try and cover all aspects of it, not just, how to get rich, but it's about the whole metaphysical landscape of wealth and prosperity, and why some people aren't, I'll just relate a little personal story, going back to the time when I was an alternative practitioner, using homeopathy, radionic, different things. And when people were, people heal themselves. What you're doing is you're just allowing them to, like we're talking about here, we're allowing them to become resonant with that healing aspect of themselves, the biofield, the correct frequencies, shall we put it that way, in very simple terms. And then when they felt better, when they got better, when they got a really good result, I was amazed at how many of those people became prosperous in a physical way. They actually, money came to them. They started becoming abundant. They didn't want for stuff anymore. And the two things go hand in hand. You have to have balance and harmony in all aspects. And when that happens, everything takes care of itself. So you've got to keep that in mind when you're doing any wealth manifestation work, and very probably work on yourself first. So, ask, what are other things doing? How are other things going? How is your health? What is your health trying to tell you? How are your relationships? What are they trying to tell you? And all these things, as they start to fall into place like pieces of a jigsaw, then you can really build the abundant aspect of it. Now, it can all go together as long as you're making progress in all these areas, right? So you can work on wealth creation, but also simultaneously work on all those other aspects of one's life by bringing balance and by bringing harmony.
And I've always focused on the abundance around me in nature, for instance, and the joy that brings. Like, I love every single season and I love being outside. And when I'm outside, I feel really abundant and lucky and happy and fulfilled. Maybe I am an outdoor person by nature, but that, when I first started becoming aware of how happy I was in the abundance of nature, I had an influx in other things in my life, including money and material prosperity,
Exactly.
because I was paying more attention to it. Like, I wasn't just solely focused on one aspect of abundance. I was expanding it out and thinking, wow, I'm so lucky. I live in this beautiful place and I can access nature, 5 minutes that way, 5 minutes that way. Really beautiful places. And I knew, I was adding in that, whenever the sun's shining on me, it's radiating through me and adding to my health and things like that. And by noticing your abundance, it's already that amplifies it. But obviously then you've got the additional work with pendulums.
So exactly. It's like, you're already tuning into it by doing that, and by using affirmations, even in your head as you're walking through the countryside, looking at the trees, and you're saying to yourself, wow, beautiful, how grateful I am. So you're emanating gratitude, which I talk about in the book, which brings with it a return. And again, I talk about that in the book. But what we can do with metaphysical techniques is we just amplify those things, but they've got to be there anyway. It's like that old saying, the saying, God helps those who help themselves. You're already helping yourself, but you've got now a tool which just gives you that little bit of an aid to keep the ball rolling. You can get from A to B by walking, by bicycling, by getting in a car, but it's all about going from here to there, isn't it? You're here, and there's your objective, and there are different ways, and there are different tools to achieve that objective.
Yeah. And I think when you've got a pendulum stand set up as well, you're seeing that throughout the day, aren't you? As
You
well,
are, exactly.
of what your intention is and why you've done that. So again, you're adding into it with your thoughts and by aligning your frequencies with that. I mean, it's really powerful, isn't it?
It's powerful. When you see something, you engage with it, and it's very important, as you say. If I hang this is Fortunera pendulum, the one that is used for bringing in those energies of prosperity. It's a beauty. I just love it. It's quite simple, but it's so elegant.
Yeah.
And so watching it, just looking at it, you're engaging with it. And and a similar thing happens with radionics, because again, I'm probably talking about something that a lot of the viewers, if they're not know much about radionics, then it might be a bit of a mystery. But radionics has some gadgetries. Really, all it is a tuning circuit in a box. Now, people can make these. In my new book, I actually cover how to make one.
Yes.
But for example, I see a lot of people making them with symbolism.
Yeah.
And now form is very useful. They can make nice. You have to engage with the instrument. It's It's not a machine. It's an instrument. Just like you've mentioned about seeing that, you're engaging with it, and it's the same with a radionic device. You engage with it emotionally, visibly, visually, and for example, people can put symbols actually inside the radionic box, and they will have some degree, but to have an even better impact, they have to be seen.
Yeah.
So if you mount them on the panel of the instrument, it has a greater impact because you're of what you've just said. You see it and you engage with it, and every time you do that, you activate it. So it's all very, very fascinating, isn't it?
I wonder if you can show us a couple of the pendulums, anything you've got to hand, and just tell us a tiny bit about them. Obviously, I don't expect you to go through in the detail that's in the book, but just as an idea for people who haven't maybe come across high vibrational pendulums before, because for beginners in particular, still not much knowledge about this. A lot of people will start with crystal pendulums that they've just bought in a crystal shop or found on Amazon. I did a beginner's workshop the other day, and everyone turned down with a crystal pendulum on a chain. I was like, right.
Yes.
So it'd be lovely to hear a little bit.
Sure. Well, again, this is something that motivated me because there's some lovely pendulums that you can buy, and people are making some gorgeous ones. And my pendulums, in my book, some of them are pendulums that are very familiar because I wanted. It's not, they're not obscure pendulums. They're like the Egyptian style pendulums, like the Isis, the Mer Isis. There's the Atlantean pendulum. I mean, it's a big book. I can't even remember it myself, but I've got some by Barge, some beautiful pendulums by Barge, which I'll show you. So I'll start by showing you just a few of the ones that come to me, the designs that and I've not made these, by the way. A friend had made these particular ones. I do occasionally sell them in my group, just like one here and there. But I've given the plans to all my pendulums to Alex, who is on our group, who you know. He's in the book. He's in the back of the resources, as you are for your dowsing charts, which is a great. I'll just show that, because this can be a companion to that book, because I talk about how to utilize the dowsing faculty to point you in the right direction. Where are you going with all this stuff? If you can't actually have something to show you the direction. And your book, your dowsing chart book, shows you that. It gives you the direction to go in. It gives you a lot more. But in terms of what I'm talking about here, it's a really, really good companion. So, and there are not enough really good dowsing chart books out there, but that's yours. I'll highly recommend it. But this is one of my designs, which I came up because I was doing work in radionics with scalar devices, and I realized I
Say that last bit again.
scalar was quite an interesting thing, and devices. Scalar is a form of field which is generated by equipment, which is kind of like a non-local field, a universal field that is pure potential. And it's used increasingly in healing devices. And some of the antennas utilized this top part, which gave me I thought, well, that looks like a little bit of an ISIS pendulum going on there, doesn't it? You can see that. So the properties of that pendulum are now incorporated into the whole of this. And as we know, the sum is greater than the parts, the individual parts. So when you put them together, you get something unique. And then we have these rings, which are like discs, but they're stepped. So they are kind of representative of a field effect. A disc really is what the discs are doing, in my view, is they are putting you in touch with the universal field. They are causing what's the word I'm looking for? Integration.
Right. Okay.
Right. So the stepped little rings increase that aspect of field integration. So therefore maximizing manifestation. And then a very sharp point at the end is directional energy. So you've got all that. You've got the radiant energy of the sphere. You've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, the discs. There's 5 discs there. I didn't actually cover very much about the numerical side of these discs, but that will carry a symbol as well. And a lot of this comes from me holding it and just going into a sort of a slightly meditative state, and then you can feel the qualities. Even looking at a picture of something like this, if you're sensitive, you can actually pick up the qualities, and the same goes for sigils as well. So this one here is one of those that I cover from Barge Pendulums, not one of. This is one from them. I have actually given this to design. You can actually use it in wood by obviously rounding off the squared corners. But this is an absolutely beautiful one. It's called the 7 Archangels.
Love it.
And it has on the and it has on the top of it the 2 interlaced triangles, a bit like a Merkaba. So you have a very you have a very harmonizing energy before you even start, and then you have the domes here of the Osiris, which create life force energy. on a very harmonizing level when it's put together with the disc. So you're adding all the time with this one, you're adding the harmony, and you're creating a sum of all the parts to create something new. And this one is, for example, how to use it. Well, this one would be used for anybody who was trying to work with archangelic energies.
Yes.
And that includes all the qualities, and I would have to look them all up.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you had, take Archangel Michael, for example,
Yeah.
we know Archangel Michael is protective.
Yeah.
We know that his color is blue. And we know all the qualities that go with blue, the healing, you know, and then Archangel Raphael, of healing with green. So with this pendulum, you can therefore utilize and resonate with those energies. And for anybody who wants to work with those energies, it's an ideal pendulum to go to. So it's not too complex, really, is it? It's just about applying some common sense and reading, putting the bits of the information that you know that might be scattered, but bringing them together
And
into a whole.
So
Yeah. And here's another one. This is called the Soul Pendulum.
right.
Another one by Barge. There's not a lot I felt about that, about how to use it. But in the book, I cover all the aspects of the energy qualities that came to me while I was working with it. And then I give some instruction on how you can work with it, what work you can put it to, how to activate it, how to utilize the sigil. So I create the sigil to go with it. And then you can activate the pendulum and the sigil together to maximize the qualities that are already inherent in the symbolic form of the pendulum. So for each chapter, say we've got a chapter on that pendulum, you will get a breakdown, first of all, of the, if I can find it quickly, I will tell you, you'll get a breakdown. Oh, there's the Archangel pendulum here. So first of all, you'll get like a breakdown of the kind of energies that it emits. So if we look at its symbolic anatomy, we've got the sphere elements that I referred to, the cone tip for its directional transition, the material, whether it's in wood, whether it's in metal like brass. You know, I mean, I have a lot of wood pendulums made because we've got a lot of olive wood around, and it's got a beautiful grain, and it's also got a lot of metaphysical qualities. But in this one, we've got gold-plated brass.
Right.
And gold-plated brass is incredibly powerful. Brass is a great material, a great metal to use. It's balancing. It represents the balance of polarity.
Yeah.
So before you do anything else, you've got a brass pendulum. You've got that
That's
straight away,
isn't it?
Yeah. And then you coat it with gold, and gold is incredibly powerful for its ability to raise the vibration, to raise consciousness. You know, the story of the Incas treasured gold not because of its material value, but because of its spiritual value, its ability to energize. Yeah. And so, yeah, we've got that. We've got the function of each particular function. So with the Archangel pendulum, we've got access to Archangel energies for healing, guidance, and support. We've got the clearing of body, mind, and spirit. So it's a good clearance for, you know, disharmonious energies that we don't want. We could go into that more, but we all know what we mean. You know, disharmonious energies, they can be discarnate entities. They can be energies left over from conflict.
Yeah.
They can be energies that you're inviting yourself. On and on we could go.
Yes.
So this is where we are. So it's also ideal for angelic invocation, chakra clearing, and daily spiritual practice.
I can feel a spree coming on.
Sorry.
I can feel a shopping spree coming on.
Yes. And just looking down it gives you suggested archangel rays. It goes through the different archangels, the ritual use, the functions of the 7 archangels in terms of how you would interact, the kind of decrees that you would use, for spiritual growth, for energetic clearing. Each chapter is a book in itself, I can tell you. You know, you've got various decrees here, like energetic clearing. I release all stagnant. I release all stagnant tone from body, mind, and spirit. Let my field be restored to purity and flow for my highest good and the highest good of all concerned. So, you know, I give some examples of decrees that you can use that have a particular resonance. Their words resonate with the energy of each pendulum that it comes under.
Archangel Metatron has been telling me recently with the new frequencies that actually, you know, working with pendulums and just doing very simple, like you've just said, that decree there of just letting go of all anything that's dissonant or harmonious is, excuse me, a really simple way of us just letting go. Like he said, it's much easier now in this current frequency to allow energies to disperse or be transmuted, however you want to think of it, without necessarily having to know everything that's gone on to cause it in the first place. There is some stuff that still needs some inner work and processing, but he's saying it's a lot easier now for us in this new frequency that's literally just arrived, you know, in the last few weeks, to let go of old stuff. And
yes,
the pendulum doing it and that added, you know, vibrational shape
yes,
is a lovely way. No trauma, don't have to go back into old stuff anymore. Like we can just let go, you know. And so it's really interesting that you've kept that statement lovely and simple. And that's, he said, you know, again, it's a very effective way of working because we're not tying our thoughts into old stuff necessarily that is maybe putting our attention back there. We're just sort of letting go, and we don't need to know everything. So that's really lovely, isn't it?
it is.
Very
It is.
frequencies.
It is. Yes, I feel it's a very. You know, I think that the frequencies are there all the time anyway, and I think that, you know, it's how they come through, how we can bring them to ourselves, or how we, you know, it's bringing together, isn't it, our own the frequency of our own biofield, the frequency of our own situation, the frequency of our own relationships, the frequency of our own financial situations. It's sort of bringing them into the most harmonious choice of frequencies that are out there. And you know, I think that when you start working with them, they, you know, there's like a follow through on that, in that other things come to you.
Yeah.
You know, that you can start picking up things just automatically in a way. They just come into your mind. I mean, I was talking to somebody who works on various creative projects. He's an engineer, and he said that something similar happens to him as what I was saying, that, you know, an idea will be flashed into your mind.
Yeah.
This is what you should be working on now, and this is how you should be doing it. And he said that it only happens when he starts working, when he applies his mind to it. if he's going and doing something else that's like, I don't know, just something that he likes doing just for the sake of it, then it doesn't happen. But when he focuses his mind, he's drawing in that particular set of frequencies that then opens up his creativity in that particular field. And then it
So,
all starts happening, you know, the magic starts to happen.
well, like, I mean, before we came on camera, Rodney was telling me, you know, that you almost felt like that book was channeled. And it is that attuning, isn't it? You sit down with, okay, I'm going to write something, and then it all just starts flowing.
Yes.
You know, that was the same that happened to me when I wrote the first book in particular. Stuff was coming through that I was thinking, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
That's,
yeah, you're tuning into a
yeah.
frequency.
That's right, absolutely. And I had to rely on it because, you know, like some of these pendulums I don't have. And I had to meditate uh and really bring through what I was feeling, like looking at a piece of art, I suppose, isn't it? You know, if you
Yeah, yeah,
look at a piece of art, then you connect with it, and then, you know, things come to you like images and visions. I think this is quite common. And so I absolutely relied on that to obtain the sigils, for example,
yeah,
for the pendulums. You know, if I just sat down, for example, with a piece of paper and I'd taken this and thought, oh, I wonder what sigil I could do for that. And I'm looking at it and you know, that is not how I did it. I think I'd have been still here. But I'm not particularly artistic in that sense, you know, but um, when I attune to it and I can feel the energies and I've got something to draw, I can see it. Okay, that's the energy. And you start then, the form produces itself on the paper. So, and what I do then is I use dowsing to check the resonance with it,
yeah,
because that's a very quick way of knowing how resonant you are with, you know, with the two energies. In this case, with the pendulum and with the sigil, are they in exact harmony with each other? So the pendulum's a great tool. You can use it in so many ways. You use it in all different work. You know,
yeah,
whatever you're working at, if it's creative, particularly if it's creative, use the pendulum because it will help you. You know, again, going to my next book, I hope to be able to publish it in the next, you know, maybe 4 to 8 weeks. I don't know. I'm still working on it, so it might be longer. But one of the things that I say in there is particularly where I'm giving an idea of how to craft a radionic instrument. Now, I'm not being, you know, arrogant here and saying, well, this is the instrument, but it's just my take.
yeah,
What's come to me. Other people can use it and they can adapt it. Like with this book, you can adapt this information
yeah,
to your own, you know, what you feel. But with the radionic thing, I say, if you can, you should be able to dowse even if you're looking at this stuff. So, but if you do, have your pendulum by you when you're doing the construction, because you'll need to find out, does this component harmonize with that component? You know, you can literally apply it to practical things that you're doing. You know, I'm no artist, but I would say you could use it to say, what's the best shade of color? You
yeah.
know, does this harmonize? I don't know how. I'm not an artist, but if I was an artist
You
and
are.
I'm a dowser, I would dowse. You know,
You're an artist
am I meant to
in that
be
way, aren't you?
in a different
Yeah,
world?
an energy art.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's
Yeah, we could all be artists, can't
yeah,
we? In our
yeah,
own way.
yeah. And I think with energy work, that is a form of art in its own right, isn't it? It might not be traditionally like painting or making
Yes.
see, but you're working with different energies and frequencies and finding out which ones work together
Yes.
there is an artistic side to that.
Yes, element to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to feel like there's no end of things we can do with pendulums, or at least assist ourselves with that intention.
I honestly think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we often say that it's work that's limited only by your imagination,
Yeah.
and that's it, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're working with Alex, and he's created some of the pendulums already. Did you say he's going to do an archangel pendulum in wood, or
No, I just gave the design to a friend who does lathing work.
Yeah.
No, I mean Alec does his own thing. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't have a business. It's not like a business interaction with him.
of course.
All I wanted was for people to be able to get hold, particularly of my pendulum design. It's like the Fortunera, the Scalar. I mean, I make a few, and I said, but yeah, you're that one there, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you've written a book and you've got like a chapter on these things, people are going to want to have quick access to them if they want. And so I contacted Alex because he's just a brilliant
Yeah.
creator, and the craftsmanship is brilliant. And so I said, would you like to make these so I can put your details in the book, and if people say, I really want that pendulum, they know who to go to.
Exactly.
So there's no, I'm not, don't take any,
No.
like commission or anything. It's literally, they go to Alex.
Yeah.
What they order from him is nothing to do with me. It's just the fact that I know I've got someone who's excellent making my designs from my book. And I call them the Codex range.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're all in there. I'm not quite sure how many divine do. Let's have a look in the thing. So I made there's one called the Benedera, the pendulum of inner benediction. There's the cosmic anomaly pendulum. I think I've talked about that in one of our interviews before. There's the scalar, there's the ascension pendulum. There's what else? There's one of mine. There's the Lunessa, the Vitalis. Did I say the Fortunera? I did, didn't I? I probably.
The Osiris and the Isis.
Now, these are all commonly available. So I've covered all the Egyptian style ones, which are the Jed, the Isis, the Osiris, Karnak, the Hathor, the Mer Isis, and some of the more mysterious ones like the Batizers or the Mason's pendulum, which I've given the strap line the pendulum of sacred proportion.
Wow.
That Lunessa is one for it's called the pendulum of the lustral flame. This is for the this is quite a big chapter as well. And this was the thing behind this was that when I was working as a drug addictions specialist, nurse specialist, a lot of the underlying conflict, inner conflict, was called bisexual malprogramming, shall we call it? All right. Now that can come from many different sources. Obviously, one is abuse.
Yeah.
And that was very common if you see people who are drug addicted. And it's not fashionable to talk about, because people like to think that drug addicts is all their own fault, isn't it? Nobody forced them, did they, to go down this route? but that's rather an uncompassionate way of
very
thinking, and you start looking behind why these things happen. And a lot of those people had, horrible stories of abuse. Some of it was to do with the environment that they grew up that didn't allow themselves to express their sexuality, for example. So these are blocks, these are terrible, powerful blocks
Yeah.
to our normal development as human beings. So that the Lunessa is the pendulum to put ourselves back in touch
Yeah.
with our inner sensual feelings and to rebalance them.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not just about one thing. It's just about becoming a whole person.
Yeah.
It's about rebalancing where there have been imbalances
Yeah.
that resonate throughout a person's life. And what the outcome of that can be, for example, could be difficulty forming relationships.
Yeah.
Just one. But
Yeah.
there are many, many more. And I go into that in that chapter. So it's quite a deep chapter, quite a deep one.
I'm looking forward to it. I was
Yes.
Rob last night about, I can't remember what we'd watched some sort of murder documentary, and I said it's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's sort of skimmed over by most people, but it's usually they always at some point they'll say, when we looked into this person's background, they were abused, they had a really hard childhood, they had sort of either sociopathic or narcissistic parents, and they've gone on to commit some dreadful crimes. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be taking responsibility for that, but I was saying, from a spiritual perspective, we're still treating these people like, oh, well, the only thing we can do with them is lock them up somewhere and put them with a whole load of other people that are also in the same energy state because they've had similar upbringings. And what does that do? It sort of amplifies the energy state of that. So they don't heal and recover. They just, it's like someone once said to me he was suffering from depression, and the doctors had said, "We'd love you to go to this group of other depressed people who meet down the pub every week." And I said, "Oh, God, I can't think of anything worse." Like, why would you want to do that? Because you're going to go and sit. And the same for people who have committed crimes, putting them all in together. I'm not saying I have an answer to this, but it's
Yeah. It was an issue that came up in drug rehab and rehabilitation as well. And unfortunately, there's very, very little treatment out there. They the agencies have turned their back very badly, in my view, on treatment and healing. If the focus went back onto treatment and healing, then these people would be a lot better served. But they don't. They just turn their back on that in a terrible way. And that was my focus. It was about healing. It was about bringing people back so they can be the individual that they were meant to be.
yeah.
So that was something. But I always felt that the worst thing for them was to be together.
Yeah.
Just what you're saying. Don't put them together. They need to be supported by people with very strong, grounded, balanced biofields. And by the strength of those people working with them, they can be supported. But you don't do exactly what you said you don't do. And you put the emphasis on that person rebalancing, rehealing. The healing can very often take care of itself, but they need that space to do it. I found this out when I was doing some work, with biocircuits. Put somebody in a biocircuit and talk to them sympathetically, let them know that you have their interests at heart. That's what that's all you need to do. You don't think anything clever. Then put them in a biocircuit where they can relax and they can do the field and them thereby can come together and the work is done.
Yeah.
You put them in a healing cocoon, shall we say, and let it happen. let healing happen.
Yeah.
But the emphasis has moved away. Yeah, look at the church. I
Yeah.
mean, where is healing in the church? Christ was a healer.
Yeah.
What healing is done in churches
Nothing.
by ministers? No.
I think, I mean, the only thing I think, you know, seeing in the UK, the lack of religion now, not that I'm particularly religious
Mm.
in that form, but I think we've lost community, because I think that's one thing the church promoted, wasn't it? Was a sense of community, especially when I was growing up, whereas
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be that anymore either. But you're quite
No.
right, you know, there is definitely nothing about healing in there. In fact, you know, I think in some cases they've almost demonized that and said you
Yes.
can't do that because only Jesus could do that. You
Yes. Yes. Yes.
know,
Yes. And going completely against the words of the Bible. You know, that Jesus himself said, these and other and even greater things will you be able to do. I mean, it is sad. It is sad. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh dear. Well, listen, Rodney, thank you very much for telling us all about your book. Is there anything else you want to just let us know about? Because I think we've been going for about an hour.
Yeah, no, that's well enough. I'm sort of hearing my voice. Yeah, have a look at the book. It's got so much in it.
Yeah, look at
It's a massive tome, and you you won't be, you won't be sorry if you are interested in utilizing pendulums for manifestation and healing. You won't be sorry that you got it. And my upcoming book,
yeah.
for those that are interested, it won't be for everybody, but it's going to be called the Radionic Codex,
Okay.
which is an investigation into the metaphysical aspects of radionic healing, and that will be coming out hopefully, as I say, within a few weeks' time. So yeah, if you wanted to follow the progress of that, I've got a Facebook group called
Yeah.
the Radionics Users Group,
Yeah.
and that's a growing group. I admit at least 10 a day
Wow.
people coming into that group, so that's growing like crazy.
And I think that book is, I know for myself, you know, because I have always wanted to get into that more, but I don't really understand what I'm doing in terms of
No,
making
it's a
pop.
mysterious world, isn't it?
So I
Yeah,
the energy and the frequency, but not the technical bit of getting it.
yeah.
But
That's another interview when I get that book
yeah,
written. Yeah.
and so I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Mm.
And I do love having some winter reading
Yes,
because now is the season.
isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, you know. So thank you so much
No problem.
for your time yet again, and you know, for producing this amazing book. I myself, I highly recommend it, and I will be recommending it to all people who come to my little beginners workshops and things like that from now
Thank you very much.
on. And yeah, thank you, Rodney. It's a real gift, and as I said, it's like a bit like a pendulum Bible, covers everything.
Thank you. Just what I wanted to hear.
So, I mean, you know, it's worthy, and it's, you know, it's lovely. Even the way it's presented, you know, in a hardback is so nice, isn't it? To have,
Yes,
and as I said, it emits its own frequency. So
it does.
even if you bought it just for that,
Yes, you can balance the energy of your home
stop throwing
by,
it
by slotting it into your bookshelf.
away in a couple of weeks with Frog, and I thought, can I fit this in the? We always go on foot, train, and ferry, but I'm like,
Yes,
yeah, I really want to take it with me and just take it and just enjoy, you know, the time to read. But
that's right.
I have to see how much of my dog stuff takes.
Of course. Yes, practicality comes
Yeah.
first.
Anyway, let's wrap
Thank you.
now. Thank you everyone for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe, obviously, if you haven't, and do share this to people that you know who are into pendulums as well, because I think you know, them having the knowledge of this book being out for starters is a great thing. And it's ideal, isn't it, for anyone starting the journey, or as you say, people who have been using pendulums for a while, or more advanced users as well. So go and buy the book.
That's it. That's the message.
Not it. Go and buy the book, everyone.
It's cheap for what you're getting.
Yes, and not many people, unless you've written a book, understand the amount of work, time, and energy that goes into these things. I mean, it is immense, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah.
And not even just the writing, but as we were saying before, the editing and everything else.
Yeah. The formatting. Goodness me.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's wrap up on that. Wish everyone a wonderful week ahead, and thank you so much, Rodney. Yeah, again.
Thank you.
And we'll look forwad to having you back to talk about the symbol. Is it the symbol codex of radiant?
It's good. I think it's good. I'll start it. Is the radionic codex.
Oh, radionic codex. Yeah. And look out for that. But we'll have Rodney back when that's published too. All right, everyone. Wishing you a wonderful day, wonderful week ahead, month ahead of year, and we will see you again soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Pendulum